welcome to the Next Gen podcast. This is Pastor Blake, and joining me today is Pastor Phil.
Hello, I'm the children's pastor.
Our Waukesha campus children's pastor, and we are excited to talk with you about something very near and dear to our hearts today, something that we've been working hard at this year, right?
Yeah,
and we
every year.
Every year we really believe in missions.
Yeah, kingdom builders.
Kingdom builders and how we're going to talk about a couple different things that we do to encourage students, young ones, to kind of comprehend and grasp missions, what that looks like in our different departments, and what you can do as parents to facilitate that in your homes. So I'm excited for today.
Well, for those who do not know what missions means,
the
world needs Jesus. Without Jesus, people perish. That's
right.
The truth of the gospel, the good news that we are headed to hell with our sin, and Jesus came and died in our place. And so we need to tell as many people as possible. And
Amen, brother.
That is what missions is. It's us leaving where we are to go somewhere else and tell somebody about Jesus.
Yep.
Now, that can happen through us praying for missionaries already out there doing that work in other countries. It can mean us giving and supporting their needs, buying materials and vehicles. It could also mean us preparing to go and become a missionary and leave where we are to go somewhere else just for the purpose of sharing the gospel. And that's what we try to instill in the kids and the students.
Right. And at Bridge Church, we call that Kingdom Builders. Everything we
Right.
do with missions is under the arm of Kingdom Builders. And so we have a few different categories for that. We have a local missions. We have investing in the next generation. We have foreign missions. And so different things we do, outreach events, we call it Kingdom Builders. But within both of our departments, we have things, programs that we give towards that support kind of some different stuff. And so we're with the Assemblies of God, and with the Assemblies of God, they have a couple different programs for the youth and for the kids departments. And so for the youth, we have this thing called Speed the Light. And what Speed the Light is, it's a missions organization that goes to help missionaries with transportation and effective communication. And so that looks like buying vehicles for missionaries to go up into the mountains, or buying buses. Like camels.
They will buy living vehicles sometimes.
Some living vehicles. Cool. I know a couple years ago we bought like some Vespas and stuff for Italy to cruise around the streets. And so what that transportation looks like is, of course, different. They also deal with communication, so different materials and sound systems and things where they are able to communicate that gospel. So to go to actually tell the gospel, and then how to actually tell it with that communication. That's kind of what Speed the Light is, and we partner with them every year in different capacities. You want to talk about BGMC?
Yeah. The Assemblies of God has many missions branches. World Missions is just kind of general support of missionaries. They've got Light for the Lost, which is mostly print materials. They've got what you just described, Speed the Light, which is vehicles and communication. And BGMC stands for Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge. It's a program that both educates kids about missions to kind of instill a heart of compassion within kids so that they know that Jesus isn't just for me.
Right.
It's my responsibility to help bring Jesus to the world. But the second category is to raise money. And BGMC and the Assemblies of God is kind of the all-purpose anything else button.
Yeah.
So if a missionary has a need that doesn't fall into the other categories in the other departments, BGMC is kind of the fund that says, okay, whatever you need that doesn't fall into those categories, BGMC will pay for. Yeah. And we're talking, I think it was like almost $6 million last year that they had as a fund internationally. I mean, globally, that's the fund that helps fill in those needs. And that buys everything from puppets to water wells to print material. It's refurbished classrooms, built schools. Yeah. I mean, there's no limit to what that money can pay for. And our goal this year was $5,555.55.
You got a theme going on.
Yeah,
with the fives.
That's $555.55 more than our goal last year. But that would be that's our 2021 goal. If you're listening to this in the far future, I'm sure our goal is probably raised since this podcast.
I like that.
Yeah, we're doing very well on our goal this year.
Awesome.
So far, depending on how you look at it, we have either almost reached or exceeded that goal because my wife Shanda did a fundraiser through the girls' ministries called Flamingo Flocking.
Right.
Where you sabotage somebody's yard with a bunch of plastic flamingos, and the price of getting them off your lawn is like a donation of whatever it is you want.
That's awesome.
And so then that raised enough money to, if we count that towards our BGMC goal, that would push us over the top, and we would have already reached our goal by this time. And if we don't count that, we're still almost there. We're really, really close.
That's incredible. So we just got a few months left. This is end of September. So we're coming down to the crunch time, the last quarter of the year, to kind of meet those goals. And it sounds like you guys are going to hit your.
We're really close.
Do you have a celebration, or what are you going to do when you hit that goal? Or
we celebrate in kids' church, and we celebrate with the district, and we kind of make an emphasis about it every single month. We set aside one kids' church every month where we spend 15, 20 minutes just talking about missions, just talking about a specific country, where their BGMC money goes. And so it's kind of a monthly celebration of, here's what your money did in another country, so you can see your gift at work. But you just got done with a big event that you do every year called Speed the Light 24. Tell us about that.
Yes. Yeah. So we do an annual kind of walkathon type event that's 24 hours long. We encourage students to go get donations. Some of them do flat fees. Some of them do per lap or per mile, just depending on what their donors want to do. And we just walk around a track for 24 hours. And so it's a challenge. It's a grind. We have students that don't go to sleep the entire time, and they're just zombies at 6 a.m. in the morning walking, and they still have 12 hours left. And so it's a long event, but it's something where the tagline we use is, we walk so missionaries don't have to. And so just in the same vein of raising money for vehicles, this year our goal is actually for water wells. So we're trying to provide clean water wells. And I believe the cost with the organization we're working with that is sponsored by Speed the Light is $30,000 raises well. Like, you can drill the well, do everything to get a well that'll be sustainable throughout generations, to be in a village. And they put that by the church, and it's all about meeting physical needs before you can meet spiritual. And so just trying to talk with our students about this idea and understanding of, man, one, let's not take what we have for granted, access to clean water, but two, caring not just spiritually about people, but also for their physical needs, so that way we're able to minister to their spiritual needs. So
we just taught kids about that specific project in kids' church, and meeting the physical needs is the open door that gives missionaries the opportunity to meet their spiritual needs as well. Absolutely. So on an ongoing basis, on a weekly basis, if they're not doing this big event fundraiser, how do youth support Speed the Light? Yeah, man, this summer was incredible. Just so encouraged and inspired by our students. We do weekly offerings, and so a part of our offering, it goes towards Speed the Light specifically. But then we just encourage students to use the gifts that they have, and whatever that looks like, to raise money for missions. And so we just had a student who's a 7th grader. He loves making pizzas. So he'll make pizzas in like a stone fire thing at their house. And he went around door to door in his neighborhood and said, hey, I'm making pizzas for clean water. Would you be willing to donate? I'll make you a pizza. Tell me what you want on it. And he raised $600 in a couple weeks by just making pizzas. And then we have people that sell different vegetables they grow in their garden. We have people that will babysit, pick up extra shifts of chores, or they'll mow, and they do all these things to raise money for missions. And of course, different challenges that we give them. Big events we do is a row-a-thon each March, and so that's a fun thing. We try to row a marathon at a CrossFit gym. The walkathon, we just did Speed Light 24, and then we have a chili cook-off, brownie bake-off coming up that I'm excited for. I'm excited. I think. Yeah, participate in the events. I mean, just come to the chili cook-off, support that student who says, "Hey, I'm doing a walkathon." Yeah. But how do parents encourage their kids to participate in missions giving like that? Yeah, I think it always has to be modeled. And so I think if you are telling your kid to go participate in this thing, you should probably be one of the first ones on the sponsor sheet. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to be like, hey, missions is so important, kids really want to actually see it. And I think it's the same with your devotionals or with worship. Like, kids are going to see if you say something and then don't do it, right? And so for our parents, man, I encourage you, ask them, get creative with them. Hey, what can we do for missions? And it's not just giving, right? It's not just doing those things. It's actually pray, give, take time to pray for them. Like, how powerful would that be if you said, hey, once a week, we're going to pray over this country or this missionary that we sponsor or we know. And I think even that starts in motion the idea of missions or generosity and what we can do for other people so that other people can know about Jesus. Can also send them on missions trips. Yeah, we've got a few of those available for the youth. About every other year we have one of those for the kids as well. Right. The youth typically go outside of the country, and the kids typically go to like a Indian reservation or a low income area or an urban settings,
Right.
so more local in country.
And all of those trips should be on our website whenever it gets closer.
Yeah, when they're available, they'll be on the church calendar, church website, church app. They'll be on the e-newsletter and all that jazz.
Right. As we wrap up today, as a parent, right, you have 2 students who are in youth that raise money for both BGMC and Speed the
Yeah.
Light. What advice would you give parents? I mean, practically speaking, how do we get our students to believe and buy into missions?
Well, I think that missions, like you said, is more caught than taught, and
Yeah.
the more you talk about it, the more it becomes part of what should be normal life.
Right.
And I don't put a lot of stock in anything that happens once and one and done.
Yeah.
Anything that's worth anything takes a habit. And just to give you a little insight into kids, the BGMC, the Boys and Girls Missionary Challenge, is a weekly offering in our setting
Right.
as well. And we have these little yellow banks. We call them Buddy Barrels.
Yes.
There's this little cartoon character named Buddy Barrel. Interesting story how he became the spokesperson, but that's a story for a different day. Come corner me in Kids Church if you want to know it. But the Buddy Barrel Bank is where they save up money. They
Yeah.
put their money, 10% of their allowance, or they go out and sell cookies. My daughter took her leftover candy from Halloween one year and sold it door to door.
Nice.
They raise their money. They do whatever they need. Some of the examples you shared are great, and they put it in that bank. And just to help them remember to
Yeah.
do it, we have that offering every week. We have that monthly highlight every month. And
Yeah.
then on top of that, if they do fill their barrel, doesn't really matter if it's with pennies or dollars. If it looks full to us, we'll give them $100 Bible bucks to spend in the toy store.
Nice.
Just to remind them, just keep it for, oh yeah, I can get $100 Bible bucks. Well,
Right.
that reminds me to do it. So they bring it in, and that's a lot of fun. So just encourage your kids to do something. Just ask them, what do you think you could do
Yeah.
to raise money for missions? Or what do you think you could do to support that one missionary? Could you pray for them? Well, let's pray for them right now.
Right.
Make that a part of your normal routine when you hand out your allowance. Okay, how much of it is going to tithe? How much of it is going to missions? And how much do you get to keep?
Right. That's good. And it's never too young. I think of Pastor Tyler and
Never.
Micah,
Yeah.
where he's 2 years old collecting cans, and he's telling them, this is so people can know Jesus.
Yeah.
And so he would just grab people's cans and be like, this is for Jesus. And it's awesome to see these connections that are happening.
My
But
dad used to hand out our allowance in increments. It'd be like if we got $1 for allowance,
Yeah.
he would pump out 10 dimes, and he would lay them out, and he'd say, okay, now this one dime, that's for your offering because that's 10%.
yeah,
And so he would actually, I was like 5 years old, but
Right.
still, he started early.
that's awesome. That's awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us today. Man, I encourage you. I love that caught not. Show your kids what it looks like to want to be a part of missions, to desire missions, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you guys.